Throwing in those project books like crazy in our office. We'll give everybody another minute in case it just popped up on their calendar that they have registered for a 12 o'clock webinar. Amy, I'm going to give you the chat from here. I'm going to share my screen. Michelle, does that look good?
Looks good. Thank you.
All right, we want to welcome you all to our noon Wellness Wednesday webinar entitled Make Your Salad Fresh Again. I am Tammy Jones. I am an extension educator in Pike County, which is in Southern Ohio.
And I'm Michelle Trieber in Pickaway County, which is just south of Franklin County.
We're so glad you could join us today to take the time out or make the time for yourself to maybe learn something new. Hopefully we can throw out an idea or two. We try to keep what we do with our salads simple so that it doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of money, and we look forward to eating our salads every day by just a few easy steps that may or may not be new to you, but we hope you find them helpful. We as extension educators in the program area of family consumer science, we work to provide knowledge, education, and information to county residents in our respective counties. But we often get opportunities like today to get to work statewide across county lines in order to collaborate and bring in others from across the OSU family. So we are happy you joined us today, and we will go ahead and get started.
So our roadmap today, we hope that you learn 2 tips to save time while meal prepping a salad entree. That a salad can contain several food groups like vegetables, fruit, protein, dairy, and grain. And preparing your own salad allows you to monitor your calories. And your mix-ins, we're going to talk a little bit about those and how mix-ins and dressings can actually derail a healthy salad. Next slide. So we're going to just start with my plate, and I just wanted to mention a few things to you. You know, we know about the fruits and vegetables, what in those food groups, but what about grains? And we're going to talk a little bit about how we can add some grains to our salad. And grains that we might think about for a salad could include brown rice, it could include quinoa. Other grains might be breads like wheat breads, cereal, crackers. In the dairy group, it could be yogurt, milk, cheese, and we're going to talk about adding some of those to your salad. And then, of course, proteins, it could be meats, could be beans, tofu, eggs, and nuts. So those are some examples. So next slide. So we just thought we would start with when you think about or hear the word food prep, what does it look like to you? Does anybody want to type anything in the chat box? So chopping, yep. It could be planning your food ahead of time. It could be planning and buying time. Somebody said time. So you think, oh, food prep is really takes a lot of time. Pre-portioning, okay. Washing, chopping, sorting, time. Okay, good. Chopping vegetables. It could be thawing out your protein before dinner in your refrigerator, of course. It could be thinking about what you buy, buying mixed greens at the grocery. A lot of people mention that chopping or pre-cooking your protein ahead of time. Makes my week easier. That's good. That's a positive take on that. Okay, next slide, Tammy. So we're getting some more comments in there. So containers, so that's good. Yeah.
So when you think about how do you plan for and prepare meals? So you've given us some ideas what food prep means to you or what you think of when you hear it. So how do you go about doing this process? It's a two-step process, really. It's planning, but then the preparing or the prep part also they kind of go hand in hand. If you have something that you use regularly or that you've tried, or even that you've wanted to try, maybe you haven't done, throw that in the chat, just so we get an idea of where you're at on planning and prepping.
So Tammy, I saw make a list,
Yes.
take an inventory, what I have, and then trying to use it before it goes
Yes.
bad.
Those are two key things, the list and the inventory. Those are a must. Some people inventory in their head. They don't have to actually go see it. But if you're like me and you have stuff in lots of different places, definitely going and checking out what's there, or keeping it. Some people keep a master list and mark it off as they use it. So they only have to do that inventory once. And then when they deplete something, then that's when they replace it, especially if you use items regularly. So when you think about a food plan, which again is the combination of your planning and your prepping, how many days are you going to prepare for? So that's kind of a good place to start. Some weeks, 3 days may be all that are going to work into your schedule. The next week, it might be 5. And some weeks it might just be 1. So kind of thinking ahead when you're doing that planning and creating that plan for the week, how many days am I actually going to be able to plan for? Obviously, the more we plan and the more we have ready, the better choices we're going to make throughout the week. We're going to have less stress. Things are going to happen a lot quicker, and they're more likely to go as we have planned. But we all know there are obstacles and detours that come up in each of our weeks to be prepared for. But having more rather than less planned, I think, is a great place to start. Think about what proteins do you want to include. Some of you talked about in your suggestions or ideas. When it comes to proteins, do I need to prepare them ahead? Is it something that I can buy canned? What kind of prep is going to be needed of that protein? Because as we know, if it's something that's in the freezer, it's not something you can just do the morning of. But a can of chicken or a can of beans could easily be opened and rinsed and put into a container to be eaten later in the day. So kind of thinking ahead to what proteins, maybe you're wanting to use up some items in your freezer and incorporating those proteins that you already have on hand when you do that inventory. And then what's your menu going to be? Obviously today we're going to be talking about salads. But what other things might go along with that menu that includes your salad that you're getting ready for? Salad might be your lunch, salad might be your dinner, it might be your both. So thinking about what else is going to be on this menu if you intend to have more than the salad. And then finally, someone mentioned this one too, containers. Containers are so important. I've got several here I'm going to show today or mention, but having them as part of your planning. Sometimes it can be an afterthought and you're like, oh no, I don't have anything to put this in. So that's part of the planning process too, and having those available so that when you are ready, you've got your table set, your countertop ready to prep. You've got the containers ready to go and you're not digging for lids or looking for something that goes with this size. But when in doubt, you've always got storage bags that can serve the same purpose. So we've created a planning tool that you can see on the screen. We will be emailing this to you at a later time. So you will actually have a copy that you can print out and use. Hope that you find this helpful. I know a lot of my participants in my programs have told me they find this very helpful. It helps them focus. It helps them think about their week at a time, even if it's just 2 days. Maybe it's only Tuesday, Thursday this week, but can actually look at those days and decide what do I have already? What do I need to get? And that whole process. But it also, I think, is exciting because it gives you something to look forward to. I know on Thursday I'm going to have, and you can kind of plan that way and think about what it is that's coming up in your meals that you have already planned and prepped for the week ahead. But this tool hopefully will serve as a resource for you. And obviously you can add other things to it. But you basically mark the items that you want to include for each of those days. It's something to keep in mind. It does not matter if it's fresh, frozen, or canned. They are all equally nutritious and important when you are adding these items, no matter the form that they start in. But again, if you're starting with that frozen, that takes a little bit more thought ahead of time to make sure that's ready to go when you are ready to go. So this grocery list, someone mentioned list earlier, which is very, very important. So when you're planning that grocery list and checking that inventory, do you have greens on it? And greens might be cabbage, it might be spinach, it might be a mixed green, it might just some other lettuce, kale you might be adding in there, it might be celery. So thinking about what greens you are going to incorporate into your salad. And then as Michelle went over with you earlier, she gave suggestions of proteins, some grains that you could possibly add, obviously fruits and vegetables, adding an apple, orange slices, into strawberries, blueberries, any kind of berries in there as your fruits. The way to get a well-rounded, well-balanced combination meal in your salad that includes many of the food groups. And then don't forget your dressing, if you like dressing. If you don't mind, in the chat, type in your favorite dressing or dressing addition that you like to add to your salads. Curious to hear what everyone uses. Any ideas yet, Michelle?
Yeah, so ranch, orange infused, olive oil and wine vinegar, Caesar, poppy seed, olive oil, fresh lemon, garlic, oil and balsamic, lemon juice, vinegar and oil with cilantro, oil and balsamic vinegar.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one I didn't hear that sometimes I often use is salsa to kind of mix it up. We're going to talk about themed salads in a little bit, so that might make a little bit more sense than if you haven't tried that. I think that's a neat addition to a salad. All right, so we're going to start by talking about your greens. I'm going to stop sharing and turn on my camera. Can you see me?
Yes.
All right, so I want to talk about greens. This is kind of like the base of the salad. This is where it all starts. And the fun part about the greens, it's whatever you like. Some people like iceberg. Some people don't like iceberg. They like more of a spring mix. So I've got a variety of greens here that I'm going to show you how I make my salads for the week. So I make them on Sunday. I have a very large container that seals, that keeps my greens in it all week. One tip I suggest is keeping the greens together and then dividing them out each day. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that's the tip I use. And I typically find that my greens last anywhere from 7 to 10 days when I keep them separate from what we're going to call our mix-ins. So I often start, obviously, washing my greens. Here is a fresh bunch of red leaf lettuce, red and green. I usually one of each and mix them up by rinsing them off. Very inexpensive at the grocery store. And they seem to last a lot longer than many of the bagged greens that you buy that are already cut. So I rinse it off and then I cut off the base of the lettuce. Then I typically take the bunch that's left, and I kind of cut it in half and then in half again. And then I get out my second favorite after the knife, kitchen utensil, which are scissors. So any pair of scissors, and just make them your kitchen shears and keep them in the kitchen. And then I just, over my bowl, just chop them in. Up here so you can see it. Doesn't take very long. I've already washed them. I've cut off that base. I'm just using my scissors to chop up that bunch of red leaf lettuce. Then I will often purchase a container, just one of the pre-packaged containers of a spinach mix, greens, spring mix, whatever it is you like. And often whatever it is on sale is what I like to purchase. And I put it out in a bowl and I just do the same thing. I take my scissors and I just go in there and cut. Some people like the larger leaf, and that's fine. You wouldn't want to do this, but I like mine kind of chopped. I find it makes a fuller bowl. It's already in bite-sized pieces, and it makes it much easier for me to eat and then add in my mix-ins. So once I do that, I add that into large salad bowl. And then a couple other things that I like to add in is I like to buy a pre-bagged cabbage mix. It's already kind of got the carrots and the cabbage already chopped up for you. And I will add that into my greens bowl. So what I'm creating now is my greens base. And then I just toss that. Again, you could add in kale, you could add in spinach, you could add in your iceberg, romaine, whatever it is you like. And again, this is creating my base for the week. And then one last thing that I like to add in, it does have carrots already in it, but I've kind of recently gotten in a habit of just buying an extra bag of shredded carrots and using about 1/4 of that bag in addition. Just add some color, a little bit of crunch. So whatever you want that base to be, but you get that started and then you have your base that's ready for the week and ready to go. And then, like I said before, then I will divide it out each day into a container. And that goes back to the importance of those containers. So you might have something that was a takeout container that you received from somewhere you had takeout. Saving those, you can buy these in sets now at the store as well. One of my favorite lunch containers is this collapsible. It starts out flat. I open it, I pop it out, I fill it with my greens, put on my lid, and it's ready to go. And then you might have other types of storage containers that you use. But again, don't forget a storage bag. I have often been somewhere and I didn't have a container with me, so I just used a gallon-sized storage bag, put my greens in it, and then it was ready to go. And then I could eat it in a bowl or a plate whenever I got to where I was going if I was traveling. Michelle, I see, is there a couple things in chat, anything to share there?
Let's see. Used to say cutting greens with a metal knife would bruise it and cause it to turn brown quicker. Does that still apply?
I have not heard that, but like I do that every week, and I get 7 to 10 days out of my greens by using this pair of kitchen shears, and they are metal, and it's the ones I use every week. So I have not had that happen to me. I don't know if it's because I keep the greens separate in one bowl and I'm not mixing other things that aren't greens until the day I'm going to eat it or not. But my experience, I have not. Anyone else have any experience with that happening or any information?
I've not had that happen either. So
once I have this, the morning of whatever one day I'm packing my salad, which for me is every day, I take out and fill my container. And then I always have an additional bag of what I call, I don't know, my snack bag could be my mix-in bag. Vegetables today, I've got carrots, peppers, and cucumbers. I like to cut my cucumbers in a thick chunk and then in half. Then I can add them and the peppers to my salad as a mix-in. But again, I don't add it until I'm ready to eat it. That keeps, I think it keeps it fresh and you don't have all those things mixing to where they might become soggy. And then Michelle mentioned grains earlier. My favorite grain on my salad are my croutons. I always add those in and then typically add some sliced cherry tomatoes to add in for color. So just an easy way to start with a base of greens and then add in what you like. But I suggest keeping your mix in separate until you're ready to eat or no sooner than the day that you're going to eat it.
Josephine said iceberg lettuce might turn brown, and that's true. That's true.
That is true. And there's something I don't use very often, so that might be why.
Okay, so what mix-ins would you use if you were fixing a salad? If you would type that in chat for us, that'd be great. Apple, that's awesome. Tammy mentioned croutons, mushrooms, red peppers, carrots, red onions, some fruits, garbanzos, dried cranberries, cauliflower. Wow.
Yeah. Great list.
Yes. I really like sliced almonds for a little extra crunch. And I typically roast those in a pan that's just a nonstick pan. And you just have to be very careful so that they don't burn, because I've done that too. But they're really a nice little crunch. Sunflower seeds, so some other people like crunch too. Flax seeds, great, great. Okay, next slide. Okay, so Southwest salad is a wonderful, I made it this week. It's a wonderful salad it's a themed salad we're calling. And Tammy mentioned that you could use salsa instead of a dressing, and that's what I often do. I made it this week one night for dinner and used the black beans. I would suggest that you really rinse those beans and drain those, because otherwise it's gonna kind of make a soupy dark mess on your salad, and it's really not real pretty. You can use frozen corn, you can use fresh corn. Soon we'll be getting into the corn season before too long. You can use leftover meat if you enjoy meats. So those are just some things you could add to that Southwest salad. Do want to caution you to watch kind of the add-ins and the dressings and the amounts, and we'll talk about that as well. In the resources and our sources, we're going to have a recipe that highlights how to cook chicken in your crock pot and have that ready for your Southwest salad as well. The antipasta salad, I see garbanzo beans and pepperoni, some cheese in there, some artichoke hearts. You know, that's another exciting salad that you can add to your greens mix. Want to encourage you though to watch kind of the portion size of some of the higher fat, higher calorie mix-ins like the pepperonis or the cheeses. And in your sources, we're also going to include a Mediterranean salad, which features quinoa, which is a high protein whole grain. You could also use brown rice, tomatoes, cucumber, red onion, avocado. So you'll have that in your sources. The other seasonal theme salads include seasonal, and I just absolutely love putting fresh fruit on my salads. And in Ohio right now, we're coming into strawberry season. Of course, we have green onions. You could add beets, radishes, asparagus, different microgreens, cabbage, kale, and spinach. So those are all seasonal things. In your sources, you're going to have what's in season in Ohio from the Ohio Farm Bureau. So you can check out what is in season when in Ohio. And the vegetarian themed salad, of course, you see garbanzo beans. You could add tofu, you could add lentils, other beans if you'd like, eggs if you enjoy eggs. And in your sources, we're going to include a kidney bean and zucchini salad, which you could enjoy those kidney beans for added protein as well. And it has a red wine vinegar and oil for flavor. So we hope we've given you some ideas. And one thing I really like about this menu planning chart is you may not think about all the different things that you could use as a protein or a vegetable. So hopefully it'll generate some new ideas for you. Do you feel like this could be helpful? Okay, Tammy.
All right. So as we kind of wrap up here, as we said, we feel this is very simple, just keeping it very simple, having that greens base ready to go for the week provides you endless meals, depending if it's just you or you're preparing meals, lunch or dinner with the greens base for others in your family or in your household. But having that already ready, thinking ahead about those mix-in and having them ready in a certain location, and then you have it ready to go that it literally is kind of thrown together, but it is definitely prepared and planned for. But we feel that that greens base is the healthy start. It's the place to start, depending on what you like in that. You can change it up one week. You can add in the iceberg, and the next week, no, I think this week I'll use romaine, or I'm going to use a spring mix. So it's whatever you enjoy eating. Arugula adds a nice little flavor that's often found in some of the spring mix mixtures that you can purchase. So starting with that base and having it ready is the healthy start. And then go ahead, sorry, Michelle.
No, you go for it.
Then thinking about what we're calling colorful creations. Thinking about your mix-ins and how attractive the salad looks by depending on what you add into it. Obviously, color is an appealing sight to see when you are looking at something. I know I often am once upon a time, prior to COVID, I was often in meetings with different people that maybe I was meeting for the first time, and they'd be, oh, what's in your salad? It looks so nice. Because I try to make sure I ensure lots of colors. Obviously, the greens are a great start, but adding those tomatoes and adding those carrots and those peppers and those cucumbers in there definitely gives it a very appealing look. And it actually is something that I look forward to eating each day. So trying to think about how you can mix up, and even the picture that you see here, they've got some lime in there. They kind of got the Southwest themed salad kind of going there, and eating that for, having that ready for several days, or for several people having it ready to go.
So remember that your mix-in choices determine how healthy your lunch turns out to be. We talked a little bit about kind of monitoring your dressings, your high calorie, your high fat mix-ins, so that you don't take a healthy salad and then you've added so much to it that all of a sudden it's high calorie and really not what you were looking for with a salad. So just because it's a salad, we could be unhealthy just in terms of calories, if you're thinking about that.
It definitely can go from being your vegetable in the meal to not really a vegetable anymore, when there are more toppings or mix-ins than there are greens or actually vegetables. So it's definitely something to watch out.
So Tammy, you mentioned you always add croutons, or you like to add croutons for that crunch. Do you measure out how many, or do you just pour half the box into your bag?
I buy them in a large bag. I don't measure them anymore. I have pretty much done the same portion. So yes. I know, but I suggest if you're starting out by adding any mix in, that you measure it out until you become familiar with how much you are adding, and make sure you're accounting for that. Using that nutrition label to see, typically croutons, it's 2 tablespoons is a serving. So I have found a crouton that is fairly low as far as calorie and fat content, so that I am able to have several tablespoons adding that crunch to my salad. So look at the nutrition label when you're adding those mix-ins, especially if it's something that's not a vegetable or fruit. Say you're adding a grain or you're adding a protein, using that nutrition label so that you're aware of the portion size that's recommended versus the one that you want to add to that salad.
Okay, thank you.
So any questions from the group about anything we've said you'd like clarification on or elaboration on?
Tammy, I just saw one question so far that was just confirming that all of these resources will be sent out in an email after the fact.
Yes, so here's our slide with those, and we will be sending those out to everyone that's taking part today and that registered for today's webinar. Michelle mentioned many of the recipes that she's going to be providing in that resource, and we will also be providing the meal planning tool sheet so that you can use that as well.
I do see a question. Any tips for packing dressing to take along?
I have a small container that is collapsible that I pop open at it. It has a screw top. I've seen some that have like a flip top as well. The thing I like about my collapsible one, when I'm done that day, then it goes down and it actually collapses inside my collapsible bowl. So after my lunch is over, when I put it back into my bag, it started out this big, but after my lunch is over, the bowl collapses and so does the dressing. So I only have this to take with me. But I know there are lots of different salad dressing or liquid containers that you can purchase. So I like the screw off cap. I've never had it spill or come open. Some people take their entire salad dressing bottle with them just to have, because it's secure and screwed in. But again, watch that nutrition label for that portion size that's recommended according to the nutrition label. I also choose a dressing that is very low in calories and fat, so that I can have more than the serving size. So I have multiple serving size. Instead of the 2 tablespoons recommended, I can have 4 easily. You would be surprised if you have not paid attention to the dressing labels on your favorite salad dressings. You might be very surprised. It is a good way to cut back just by changing your dressings up. maybe not changing the flavor. It might just be simply changing the brand or a lighter version of your favorite. Someone said poppy seed. Love, love, love poppy seed. Fortunately, I was able to find one that was a lot lower in calories so that I could have my 4 tablespoons and then not have the additional calories with it. So definitely look at that nutrition label for reference. So here is our contact information. And I just want to mention, Michelle, I'll let you take care of this slide, telling them about some of our other programs.
Sure. So the Live Healthy, Live Well team, we have a blog where we post twice a week on a variety of wellness topics, and you can go to livehealthyosu.com. And we also have a Facebook page where we pull in the blogs twice a week, and then we also post on Facebook every day. So lots of recipes, stress management, mindfulness, all kinds of wellness topics on both of those pages. And if you are interested in wellness text messages, and this would be a text message you'd receive through your phone, you can text, the number is 81010. And in the message, you would put at LHLW365-6. And you would be signed up. We utilize the Remind app. You do not have to have that. It'll just come in as a text message. But you will receive 2 text messages each week on a different variety of wellness topics. So we'd encourage you to sign up for our blog, our Facebook page, as well as the text messaging if you'd like.
And we again remind you there's that information, but we also remind you that Wellness Wednesdays continues each Wednesday this month. With the same registration link that you used for today, you have the opportunity to click on different ones that you're interested in. So we invite you to come back to one of our future webinars on Wednesdays at noon.
And
With
then
that said, go ahead, Michelle.
the next one up is gluten-free eating. So that'll be the next topic in 2 weeks.
All right. Anything last there at the chat?
Yeah, there is. After you click off this, you will get an evaluation link right afterwards, and we would appreciate it if you would take time to fill that out for us.
So I see, I'm just real quick, I put my glasses on. I can see Martha's comment. Yes, I didn't want to mention brand names, but Martha, yes, Skinny Girl is the dressing I have found that I love in 5 different flavors, very low calorie, low fat, and you can have more than one serving and make that salad great. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I see Lisa says she wants to purchase that collapsible bowl, but yes, there and come in handy quite regularly every day that I use that. So, but thank you all for joining us. And I hope that you're making your salad fresh again, starting, if not tomorrow, next week.
Thanks, everybody.